Hi, everybody. This video is going to come with a trigger warning. It contains graphic information about the unaliving of two moms by members of a far right-wing religious anti-government cult. If this may put any of you in any kind of undue stress, please watch something else, and we'll catch you on the next one, okay? If you're new to here, this is But First Coffee, Susie Oberholtz, and we meet here to share anti-Scientology news, information, and news about my 13-year, 3-time breast cancer battle, which is still going on, and pretty much anything else that we find interesting. So, like the other night when we just sat and talked and got to know each other a little bit, and I want to do one of those about once a week, I think. Please hit the like and subscribe, and that notification bell, sorry. That helps the channel be seen by more people and gets us closer to monetization, which will help me pay the bills of the channel. It'd be nice if I could just afford to pay I could afford to pay them, but you know what I mean. If the channel could make enough to pay my software and stuff like that, that would be just absolutely wonderful. So hit that like and subscribe, y'all, please. Oh boy, y'all, this one's hard. I hate doing these, but at the same time, I started it, right? The whole deal about the moms that got murdered here in Oklahoma. So I feel like I need to kind of follow it through till the end, and we're not there yet. We're not even close, I don't think. But anyway, I'm just going to try to get through it, and then we can have a chat. Hello to everyone. Susan P., Cubana Chica, John Van Geest, Pink Rebel, Hippie, I can't even talk again, Long Stocking, Susan P., Constance June. She's just going to be listening today. That's fine. There's not really any pictures, so thank God. Okay. As of this video, the cause and means of death in the brutal double murder of Kansas mom Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly have not been revealed yet. On April 13th, well, actually, let's back up just for a little bit of backstory. On March 30th, the two women went missing en route from Kansas to Oklahoma, which is about a 45-minute drive from one place to the next where they were going. And they were going to pick up Veronica's two children that were in the custody of their paternal grandmother. It had been they'd been having a horrible, horrible custody battle over it with accusations of child SA, and which looks like that might have been just a lie. And y'all, it's ugly. I've made other videos. If you don't know the story, go back and look at those other videos, because it's a mess. And I try to weed through it and tell y'all anything new I find out. But the reason that I want to cover this one is because, first of all, I live in Oklahoma, so it hits close to home. And second of all, it involves a cult. And, I'm very into fighting cults, and this one is scary. Scientology's so out in the open, but this one is so secretive and everything. And it I don't know, does that make it more scary to you? Because it kind of makes it more scary to me. Anyway, on April 13th of 2024, 4 arrests were made in the case. Tiffany Adams, the paternal grandmother to Veronica's two children, aged 6 and 8. She had a girl and a boy. The girl was having her 6th birthday that day, and that's why the mom was coming to get her, was to take her to a birthday party with her family and everybody. Tad Cullum, a local rancher and boyfriend of Grandma. Cole Twombly, a local rancher, and Dora Twombly, who's actually married to Cole. Sorry. News immediately hit the small community of about 270 after the 4 were arrested in the 2 raids on Adams and Column's property. Police in approximately 20 armored vehicles descended on the properties at the same time. What's that word for that? My mind's not working, but simultaneously or something. Anyway, where the suspects, which were members of the cult, were taken into custody without incident. The 2 minor grandchildren were with their grandmother and were taken into protective custody, and the 2 minor children of Cora Twombly were taken into custody on them, the other property. Anyway, about read the same one again. So hold on a second. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's that part. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I don't know why I totally lost my place, and I wasn't. I was right where I knew where I needed to be, but I don't know. I'm a mess today. I had a rough day yesterday, and I'm going to do a live about that later. Had to go to the doctor and got some more diagnosis, not more cancer diagnosis, but some more stuff. Anyway, you know how stuff just plays in your head and it gets where you can't think straight. So anyway, but I wanted to get this video out. New in the case, the 5th suspect named as a participant in planning execution of the double murder, Paul Jeremiah Grice, was questioned the day after the 4 defendants were arrested, but he was released not due to enough evidence. But on April 24th, 2024, yesterday, y'all, the police went back out to his property and he was taken into custody, and he has made a confession. And anyway, he's been charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of kidnapping, and 1 count of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. And his warrant and the affidavit for arrest and everything reads exactly like the other 4 defendants. I mean, just the only thing that's changed is his name, which is the same as all the 4. The only thing that ever changed was just their name. But Grice, y'all, is singing like a bird. He reportedly confessed to everything, and his story lines up perfectly with what the 16-year-old CW said. Everything. And he's quite the character, apparently. Which, this is what gets me. I'm kind of going off my script here a little bit, but I understand that the people in the town were scared, because I've lived it. Not that I was scared, but I had the newspaper in a town where people were scared. So I get it. And I think that that's part of what makes it so upsetting, is that whenever I'm talking about this, I understand the fear that these people are feeling. But the news keeps interviewing people. And I mean, I'm talking all the news, whether it's, I don't know, News Nation, Fox, CNN, ABC, all of them. So no matter what news outlet that you watch, they're all basically interviewing the same people, because only the same people will keep coming forward. And these people that are coming forward keep painting all these defendants as these really nice, upstanding citizens, these, good parents. Maybe they're a little, political, maybe they're a little, anti-government, and, some of them, oh, I didn't know anything about that. I didn't know about a cult. I didn't know about this. I didn't know about that. I'm calling bullshit on that whole thing, y'all. I mean, I think that the ones that are talking are the ones that are trying to sway a potential jury pool, which I don't know how that would happen, but that's what I think. I think that the ones that are coming out are the ones that are trying to make them sound like they are better than they are. Because I'm sorry, these people are animals. Animals have more respect for human life than this. I mean, animals generally, and this is gross, but they generally only kill to eat, right? Like, they kill to survive. They don't get in a little tussle and think, well, I'm just going to kill these 2 women just because I don't like one of them. And that other one, well, she's just as bad because yeah, she supports that one. No, she didn't support her. She might have, but that wasn't why she was there. She was doing her job. The job that Granny told the one that she likes not to do for a couple of weeks. Granted, I think I know why. So you wouldn't be the one killed. So Cheryl Broom needs to be very, very grateful that she's still walking this earth because, and she didn't do anything wrong, y'all. Don't get me wrong. But Granny did her a big solid, right? Because she got her out of being killed. But that's how obscene it is. Anyway, back to this Grice person. 1 year ago, he filed a crazy 44-page document against the U.S. Okay? He denounced his U.S. citizenship. Well, guess what, dude? The laws still apply to you. You still don't get to go murder 2 people and just get away with it. These people are crazy. They're crazy. They're not your typical Republicans, Democrats, whatever. They're not your typical people. They are described as extreme far right, but they're also described as anti-government. So I don't really see how that can be, but I'm not crazy. And I guess they just, you know how people will cherry pick the Bible. Well, it looks to me like they cherry pick the Bible and they cherry pick the Constitution and they cherry pick, whatever. Because I'm just, it makes me sick, if you couldn't tell. Anyway, the sheriff there in Texas County, Oklahoma, said that they expect to arraign Grice a week from today. They did say that he lives near where the bodies were found and that he did confess to the planning, the murder, and being involved in the planning, the murder, and the burial. And we don't know yet why he was first released and then what changed that they went back to arrest him. But, they went and talked to him and he, I guess, confessed. But I don't know yet those details. And we might not know for a while. Maybe in a week after he's arraigned, we might find that out. In one piece of information that has just rocked me, y'all. Like I think that's the majority of what's wrong with me today, is that the medical examiner has not given a cause or means of death, but they did clear up one misconception and said that the victims were not shot. That just opens up so many horrific possibilities. None of them good, right? As if horrific could be good, right? There was a broken hammer found at the scene. Veronica's glasses were found at the scene. And we know that the women bled extensively. There were puddles of blood. So, that's what we do know. I was told by law enforcement that calling the 16-year-old daughter of Cora Twombly, CW, stands for complaining witness, in most cases anyway, and that it likely isn't her initials, unless that's just a coincidence. So, which it could be because apparently her last name starts with a W. But the police officer said that was unlikely. But this whole case is unlikely. And again, if I smile or appear to make a joke, it's not out of that I think anything is funny, y'all. It is the horror of it, It's like, I don't know. It's not funny, and I'm not laughing. I'm trying not to vomit most of the time. Locals paint varying pictures, some saying that they know nothing about a cult and others saying it's well known, which I don't understand how it can be both in a town of 270 people, 273 or something like that. I mean, Veronica graduated from high school there, y'all, and she was the only senior in her graduating class. It's how tiny this place is. Some locals say that there are several members locally, which keeps them in fear of speaking out. So the sheriff said that because they didn't know how many cult members might be at either of the residences, or if they were going to be armed and to what degree they might be armed. He said that's why they went in with such force. It's a lot of people have said, that it looked like a little mini Waco situation. Not even that many, actually. But anyway. Okay, there was a large presence, and I know this is kind of jumping around, but I'm just trying to like anything new that I have found out. And it can be new as in something small or something big. So if I'm kind of jumping around, it's because that's how the information came in. It all just kind of jumped around. But anyway, so there was a huge police presence at the arraignment, including snipers on the roof, a drone, metal detectors, and multiple officers inside and outside of the courtroom. And once you got into the courtroom, the families of the victim were seated at the back of the tiny courtroom. Now, you remember, this is a tiny place. They allowed for 50 people to be present in the courtroom, but only 39 went in. So they actually had some seats, but it was packed outside too. I think, if y'all hear my dogs, they just do this where if Charlie comes down, then Hollis barks. And if Hollis barks, and sometimes Duke barks, it's just it gets on my nerves. They're in that mood, and it's going to storm. I can hear thunder rolling back in the background a little bit. So, animals tend to act a little crazy when it's going to be stormy. But anyway, so there was 39 out of 50 that were allowed to come in, and they put the family at the back, and they said that this was to distance the family from the defendants because they literally were within arm's reach of the front row. So they put the reporters in the front row. Cheryl Brune was the normal person that would have overseen the transfer of the children. She lives there where Tiffany, the grandmother, lives. But Tiffany claims that Brune canceled at the last minute. So Veronica contacted Jillian Kelly, who's not a friend, but one of the 4 the court approved for the job of going to supervise the transfers. She was working from DHS. So it's been reported that they were friends and all this stuff, and they're not. I mean, they're probably friendly. The woman, her husband was a pastor there in the town, reported to be a lovely, friendly, just hilarious person. She rode a motorcycle, y'all. She's just everything I've heard about her. And she has 4 children, by the way, that now don't have a mother. But anyway, she was just a lovely person doing her job, right? But Cheryl Brune said that that's not true. She said that Adams called her and told her to take a couple of weeks off. So tell me that wasn't a premeditated deal. She didn't want the person that she knew from the town where she lived to be there and get murdered, right? Apparently the Twolleys blocked the road in 2 directions of the 4 corners to force the women in the direction where Grandma and Cullum waited. Because it's a 4-corner, like a 4-way. They're traveling down one. The Colleys or the Twombleys blocked 2 lanes of it, 2 roads of it. So there was only one place to go, where 3 people waited for him, right? It says the Twombly's drove their truck and a flatbed truck belonging to Clint Twombly, brother of Cole Twombly. No word yet if he's suspected in any of this. So, I mean, it just may have been that his truck was at the farm. You know, we have a family farm, and there's a lot of times we have one or another's vehicles sitting here, you know, if they're coming back the next day to do something, or if it's used more as a farm truck, or, you know, there's just a lot of reasons why it could be that way. So I'm not saying that he's involved. I'm just saying that his truck was the flatbed that was involved. Now, it is kind of interesting. It just like, oh, you think you figure something out, and then you just get hit. And it's a lot of it's like these little details, but Clint Twombly is running for sheriff currently as a Republican in the neighboring county, Cimarron County, from where all this took place and where some of them live. I mean, it's, you know, it's hard to tell what state you're in when you're there driving around on these dirt roads and stuff, much less what county. But anyway, it's, you know, and some people were saying, was that why Cole Twombly had that smirk on his face when he was arrested and everything, you know, did he think that his brother would be able to help him out? And I mean, I don't know. Who knows, right? But another interesting thing, this one I can't really figure out, but Tiffany Adams, Tad Cullum, and Cole Twombly all hired private attorneys, right? But Cora Twombly said she can't afford an attorney and needs a public defender. So her husband can afford a private attorney, but she has to get a public defender. I can't imagine me and Mark doing anything where we would be needing defense attorneys, but I guarantee you that if one of us got a private attorney, the other one would too. I mean, I don't understand it. But I do find it ironic that she will rely on attorneys paid by the taxpayers when they don't believe in paying taxes. I mean, y'all, they believe that only Black people are supposed to pay taxes. And there's a whole group of them. It's not just these 4 or 5 lunatics. There's a whole group of them. They hold meetings weekly. I can't even, like, I love history. I mean, you know, I hate a lot of our history, but I'm a history buff. So is Mark. And we've talked about it a little bit, and I can't find any reason to support that only Black people should be required to pay taxes. I mean, of course it doesn't make sense. I mean, I'm not saying that, you know that. But I can't find any I can't think of any batshit crazy reason why they would believe that. I mean, and it just pisses me off. They did also say that none of them, even though they are very loud and proud opponents of all things government and court and police and, you know, all that none of them had any negative comments about the judge or the court, the police, or anything at the arraignment. They all just, you know, were very quiet. Good, I guess. I just know I don't know. They make me sick. And I am one of these people that, I believe in our court system. I don't believe it's perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I do believe in the whole concept of that you're innocent until proven guilty. But we've got 2 at least of 5 that's confessed. 3, if you count the fact that the one confessed to her daughter and then the daughter told. Thank you, precious 16-year-old girl. And may you please be safe and live a long, happy life from this moment forward. Another thing that I'm not real sure on, but it interested me, and so I asked. But Cora wore a plain orange jail clothes to the arraignment, and the other 3 wore the orange and white striped ones. And I know that's like a tiny little detail, but sometimes the tiny little details mean things. So I had asked an unrelated law enforcement officer, and he said that it could signify that she's on suicide watch. That it's probably not just a luck of the draw and she got the orange ones and the rest got striped. It probably signifies something. And in his experience, it's usually something like a suicide watch or something. But I don't know. That's another one of those they've not said. As the 4 were brought in for their arraignment, and they were brought in separately and got seated and everything before they brought the next one in, and the next one, and the next one. And Veronica's family literally had to restrain her father. Like, there was 3 women. Girl power, right? That literally held him back, and he shouted obscenities at them. I mean, he called them POSs, and he called Tiffany the effing bee that killed my daughter. And they said that he was quite loud about it, and the judge didn't stop it. So I don't know. Another thing, there's a man in North Carolina that calls himself Squirrel, and he's the leader of a motorcycle ministry called God's Misfits. And I looked it up and I saw him and everything, and I didn't see anything that looked like weird about him. There's several chapters or whatever you want to call that may or may not even be related to each other across the whole country. Apparently, God's Misfits seems to be a popular name, and it must not be copyrighted or something. But anyway, this man, Squirrel, he claims he has no knowledge of this group, no affiliation, but he's been receiving death threats. And he says that his group is neither extremist, right-wing, or anti-government, that they're not a cult, he said. They're just a traveling ministry. Him and his wife do a ministry to different motorcycle clubs that they, come across the country. So that's sad. I don't want anybody getting death threats if they don't deserve them. Oh, that was the Duke. I think it's probably the mailman. Yeah. Tad Colam's sister, and they don't have a name on her yet, was heard on a news video outside of the arraignment saying that he'd never hurt a woman. She also said, "I love you, Tad, and I hope the authorities will see that he had nothing to do with those decisions." I understand supporting your brother. I do. If my brother did something horrible, I would still love him. But I couldn't just go blind. And, I wouldn't just go stupid. If they had this kind of evidence against my brother, I would love him, but I think I would just be kind of a silent observer. I would go and support him, be there for him. I guess. I hope I never know, you know? But she just seems like she's just in denial. And unless she just absolutely doesn't know him very well, I mean, that's possible, right? But what got me was when she said, that he had nothing to do with those decisions. I thought, decisions? It's cold-blooded murder of two women. A bystander was heard saying that he doesn't deserve or need all of that protection. And another said, I hope he gets what he deserves. Now, and to her credit, she was not causing a scene. She was quietly saying it. She wasn't yelling it. I feel for her. I really do. I feel for her. It'd be a hard situation, right? But, ugh. Then there's Vincent Forbes, the municipal judge across the state lines into Kansas. He was forced to resign, y'all, after he did a complimentary interview concerning Tad Colum. Sorry. And he's going online and he's really, and on the news and everything, he's really playing the victim that he's got asked to resign, or basically told he was going to resign. But there's something weird there. I don't know. First of all, you're a judge, dude. You're a judge. You don't go on the news and wax poetically about an accused murderer. I mean, if you said, I know him, I'm shocked at the allegations, But to sit there and say he's a good friend of mine, he was a good friend of mine, he's still a good friend of mine, he's a good guy, I don't think he'd do this, you're a judge. And I'm sorry if that doesn't seem fair. But, like when I was a journalist, I had to be unbiased. And I'm just like you guys. I would have an absolute opinion of whatever was going on. My God, I covered a child SA case that was a friend of mine's daughter. I knew these people. I had a very huge opinion in this case, and I was privy to all of the information on it from both sides. But you got to remain unbiased. And I'm sorry, Judge. You got to remain unbiased. But anyway, the judge said that he had gone into business recently, like maybe a month ago, with Colum on a sawmill. And then he was like, and people were saying, you have a sawmill, you could have disposed of the bodies before they found the bodies. And acting all offended. I'm like, I would keep my damn mouth shut. I mean, did this guy go to law school? I mean, I know he's a municipal judge. He's not he's not going to deal in murder and all that kind of stuff. But he still had to go to school. He's like 60, 70, probably 70 years old or something. He surely didn't get his judgeship like last week, right? He's surely got some experience behind him that says this is not really what you do. But then the judge says that he asked Colum. I went to him and I asked him, did you have anything to do with this? And he told me no. Well, case closed, right? And let's not forget that the judge was present at Colum's home when the raid went down. And he was pouting around about the fact that they put his ass on the ground and had a gun pointed at him too and handcuffed him. And he's telling him, I'm a judge. Well, guess what? I don't care. Oh my God, y'all. These are the kind of people. We have this thing in Oklahoma where we say that if there's a tornado or, a fire or whatever, but usually we're talking about a tornado, some sort of like disaster, that strikes. The only people that end up on the news are absolute hillbilliest, crackhead looking. I'm sorry, but you know what I'm painting, the picture I'm painting, right? No, every other tooth in their head gone, that kind of look. And they get on there and they can't form a sentence. Worse than me, y'all. Worse than me. And that's what I feel like with this judge. I'm like, good Lord, just shut up. But he is enjoying his 15 minutes of fame, let me tell you. The bodies of Veronica and Julian were found at the Jamie Beasley property where Twombly had done some dirt work just the day before. They were 10 feet below the ground with dirt and hay on top of them to, spread around to kind of make it not look like it was fresh dirt. But one of the burner phones, several of the burner phones pinged in the area. That's where, once they got those transcripts of where they pinged at, that's what led them to that property. And they did find one taser at the scene, I think, in the hole, I think. Y'all, when they buried those women 10 feet below the ground, they didn't want them to ever be found. They didn't want their families to ever have any kind of, for lack of a better word, because I absolutely hate the word, but closure, And knowing where their bodies were would be a form of closure on that part. I don't believe in closure really, but I understand that knowing where the bodies are would be a degree, right? I pray that they were dead before they went in that hole. That's what I hope. They were saying, y'all, that Beasley, the man that owns the property, he's not a wealthy man, and that he was clearly distraught and in tears when the bodies were found on his property. And he really told some information that I covered before on Twombly, who leases that land from Beasley for pasture land. He told some stuff that at the time it didn't seem suspicious to him, but now in hindsight, I'm sure he's like, oh, geez. Another interesting thing is that Beasley drives a truck very similar to Twombly's. And the rumors swirling around are saying that the bodies being put there may have been a potential plot to frame Beasley for the murders. If people got too close, that could frame him. Crazy. And we're not talking about some broke ass people here, y'all. They've got the money to get stuff done. Tiffany and Adams is said to be worth approximately $8 million. And Tad Colum is said to be more wealthy than her. They both have thousands of acres. And they said that the Twomblys, some people are saying that they actually live on Colum's property. I'm not sure. That's another one of those, I don't know. It's really hard to just get a straight answer. People either don't know or won't tell. They just, throw up their hands. I don't know. A sad thing was it had been months, y'all, since Veronica had seen her kids due to the grandma canceling the visits. And the judge had finally put his foot down and said that this visit was going to take place. And it was also expected that Veronica was about to regain full custody of her children because there was significant evidence that all of the accusations of child SA were lies. And sadly, that court date for her to regain custody of her children was supposed to happen the day that the 4 were arraigned on her murder charges. Reporters also noted that at the arraignment, the prosecutor had a holstered firearm, and they said they had never seen that before. I was like curious if they've never been to a high profile trial, or even not that high of a profile trial in Oklahoma, because I swear I think everybody has got a gun on their hip. And I'm not anti-gun by any stretch of the imagination, but I think that it's gotten completely ridiculous, to be perfectly honest. And that's another point of contention with me and some of my family. They also said, the reporters also said, that while Colum and the Twombleys looked, a little worse for wear at the arraignment, that Granny, she looked good. She looked like she's kind of pulled together, had her hair braided real nice and tight, and that when she walked in, that she walked, straight up, like defiant, and stood there very defiant and straight through the whole process, where the others were kind of humped over, heads down. I don't know if it was just they didn't want to look at the judge or if it was remorse. I don't really care. This is one of those things that I don't give a rat's ass if they feel terrible about what they did. I hope they do, and I hope it haunts them every day for the rest of their lives. And I'm sorry, but I hope that the rest of their lives are not that long. If ever a case in Oklahoma deserved the death penalty, it's this one. The 4 defendants are very deeply embedded in the community, and they're very feared. Oddly enough, Grandma was the school board president and the president of the local GOP Republican election committee, even while proclaiming to be anti-government. They were called extreme Trump enthusiasts and supporters of the January 6th insurrection. Again, I know lots of Trump supporters and even people that support the insurrection. I started to say reservation or my words. I get all freaking twisted. I had Jesus in the reservation the other day. But anyway, I know people that support Trump and support the insurrection, and they're not murderers. So that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just reporting facts as they come in. The reporters did say that they left the area thinking the majority of the people there are good people who would never do anything like this. Thank God, right? They're just, the area just gets a bad name because everything is so far apart, and it takes law enforcement a while to get there. If you, call, it does. It takes a while. This one just really, really hits so close to home, with it being in Oklahoma and with it being a cult. And I've been right through there, more than once, several times. I was going to go to college right there. Honestly, I didn't go to college there because I heard a bunch of stories, not like this one, but, kind of. And I was just like, no, I don't think so. No. But my heart and prayers are with these 2 families and the 6 children who are now motherless. And as soon as I do hear a cause and means of their deaths, I will let you know. Just keep an eye out for that. I'm afraid what it's going to be, to be perfectly honest. Let's check with the chat. Susan P., hi. Cubana Chica, hello. John Van Geest, Pink Revel. Oh, cool. True crime also. Yeah, I do a little bit. I'm not going to get full into it all the time, but if it's something I think is really interesting to my subscribers and everything, or if there's something that you all want me to look into, then let me know. You can send me an email to the email address that's scrolling across the bottom of the screen. If it's something you want me to look into, I'll do it. But because there's times that there's just nothing much really to say about Scientology, just real repetitive. I'm working on some stuff now, but it's a lot of editing and all that. It's just going to be like videos, like of different things. Ooh, see my wind blowing my curtains around, y'all. Pippi Longstocking forever. Hello. Speaking to each other a little bit. Rather be in Maui. Me too, guys. Good morning here in Southern California. I'd rather be in Southern California too, rather than here. I'm just hoping we're not going to get any tornadoes or anything. I haven't heard that we are expecting them, but I don't know. John Van Geese says he looks forward to these. He hadn't heard about the story until I started reporting on it. Well, I'm glad I'm bringing something to you that you hadn't heard of. It's a crazy, crazy thing. Even here in Oklahoma, they're not covering it like I would think that they would. Like, they're just not. There'll be like little things here and there, but there's no big coverage. I've got a friend that she's a reporter, and she was down there and doing some early on. And she's great. But there's just really not been a whole lot. It's been more Fox and News Nation are the two that are covering it the most. So, rather be in Maui as a new sub. Good. Thank you. This is very interesting to me as well. It is very interesting to me too. Yes, this woman does not deserve the name Grandma. A lot of times whenever I'm talking about her, I'll call her Granny because they said she hates it. She hates the name Granny. So I think from now on, I'm going to try to refer to her as Granny, but I don't think she deserves that name either. It would just be that she hates it. So I think I just say Grandma because I'm a grandma and I cannot imagine. Now, I take that back. If I really believed that my grandchildren were being harmed and that nothing was being done, maybe not to this degree, but I'm not going to say that. I made a threat one time, not with death, but I did say I would crush someone's knees and bring a step stool if I had to. But this granny knew that it was a lie. There's the difference. I think that I could hurt someone if they hurt my grandchildren. But then they weren't hurt. She knew this was a lie, and she threatened her own son with blowing his brains out if he didn't tell the lie. She's evil. Absolute evil. Oh, we have all the time in the world, Susie. Thank you. I feel like I just drag it on, y'all. Sometimes I'm just trying to get all the information out there, and I don't know. Yes, please make sure to hit the like and subscribe for Susie. Thank you. Okay, question. In the town where I had the newspaper, what were the people in the town scared of? Everything. There had been people that disappeared. They've not been found to this day. We're talking 20, 30 years. Properties burned. The KKK is to this day still active in that town and another one just not far from there. The police force is corrupt, or I don't know about today, but it was very corrupt. They actually got somebody in that tried to do right, and they railroaded him out of town, because can't have it. There was a lot. There was a lot, but they were literally and are still afraid for their lives. There were some people in town that were like, enforcers kind of deals or something, kind of like OSA, right? They would fair game people, for lack of a better word. I mean, like me with the nails in my driveway of my business and driving down the road and the back passenger side window gets shot out. Another time the windshield got shot out. It's crazy. They absolutely had reason to be scared, still do, as far as I'm concerned. It is just a corrupt town. Luckily, a lot of those people are dying off. The OG kind of deal, they're all dying off, but a lot of them, it's like there's some, their kids, which are my age, or even their grandkids, which are my daughter's ages. But, a lot of them are just laying in the wings, ready to take over for dad, or grandpa. But there are a lot of good people that have stood up and are really trying to make a positive change. But it's hard. It's hard when you're fighting corruption in City Hall, in the police department, in the fire department. There were a lot of rumors there. I mean, they had a lot. Cynthia David says, I still think the ex-husband is involved too. Yeah, they actually weren't married, but I know what you mean. Wrangler. I do too. I mean, supposedly he told his grandma that the mom was going to take Tiffany out at transfer, which is pretty telling. You wouldn't have to worry about the custody battle very long because the mom was going to take out Tiffany. Granny was going to take out Tiffany. And Granny knew the path that the judge in the case walked to work every day. So I wouldn't be surprised everyone around the ex-husband seems to be involved, so it would make sense. I absolutely agree. And there's some, I haven't really been able to dig it up, but there's some, I don't know, like chatter about this Wrangler's dad, the one that took him straight from jail to rehab. And I haven't really been able to get anything, that I would be comfortable reporting on. But I don't know. I'm not sure that this is over yet. Like, I'm really not sure. I think maybe these were the ones that did the murdering because, like there were 5 cell phones bought. There were 5 tasers bought. Now there's 5 defendants. But who else knew? Who all knew? Yeah, John Van Gies says, wait, they're all sovereign citizens as well. That's going to make for very interesting trials. Absolutely. And yes, they were. They were all sovereign citizens. They refused to have tags on their vehicle. They did not have driver's license. They didn't have insurance. And they would get ticketed for all this stuff, but they wouldn't pay the fines. And apparently, see, that's the thing is like, I understand and I really want to be like okay with law enforcement there. And I like this sheriff. I mean, from what I can tell, he seems on the up and up, I guess. I don't know. But I don't understand why they've been allowed to just not do things, right? Like, I mean, not pay tickets, not pay fines, not buy tags, not buy, I mean, what I studied, and if I'm wrong, please tell me, but what I looked up on the whole sovereign citizen thing is that, I mean, you can proclaim it, but that doesn't mean it, we still have laws. And so it's more of just a talking point, more of just something that they argue. I'm a sovereign citizen. Like this Grice guy, he denounces his citizenship. Well, I was like, well, fine. Then I don't get, if you're not a citizen, do you get a fair trial? Are you entitled to all that? Stamp a guilty stamp on his forehead and send him on. Set that date with that executionist, right? Yeah, great grandma said that he told her that she would be dead soon, and he told the police that he didn't say that. Well, yeah, he told the police he didn't say that. But, he's trying not to implicate himself, but I mean, and who knows? We might find out, great granny might be a liar. I don't know, but everything fits. Like, everything, all the evidence is lining up, and all the stuff that they're being told is all seems to fit. Pippi Longstocking forever. Yes, they are so dangerous. How is it legal to have a group like that? I don't know. I really don't know. It's shocking, and it's terrifying because, I mean, I live in rural Oklahoma, and I'm just like thinking, now, you start thinking, what about so-and-so over here? Are they like that? Or, which I know most of the people that live around me which I guess these people do them too, but I really do. I know these people, and they're good people, and they're a little more conservative than I am, but they're a little more, I don't know, judgy. Some of them, not all of them. I'm not talking bad about my people that live around me. There's great people around here, but it does make you start. I think it would anybody, right? Does it not make y'all kind of look around at your neighbors and think, if I seen them do anything weird, they're having any kind of meetings over here, once a week, they're having some kind of Bible study, I mean, and I don't even get the whole religion thing, because they're supposedly so religious, but they also said that Jesus messed things up. Sorry, I didn't mean for the balloons. I forget that it'll do that stuff. Anyway. Hey, pup groomer. Yeah, Cynthia, the hammer that was broken. I've never been able to get that out of my mind. And I just kept, as bad as it seems, I just kept like saying, okay, they shot him. They shot him. But now the medical examiner says they were not shot. So I don't know what happened to these poor women. Yeah, the horror upon horror, these poor women. Yeah, pup, the laughing or the, smiling, it is a coping mechanism. There is absolutely nothing funny about this. I don't find any of it funny. But, Hi, Miss Sunrise Dawn. It's good to see you. And yeah, that courtroom is closet sized. Absolutely. It's little. I've been in some little courtrooms, but not that little. I covered a lot of trials in Creek County, in Payne County, and even Pawnee County when I had the paper, but nothing that small, nothing in that kind of, I can't imagine. I mean, I literally think that there was only 4 rows, like 4 rows of seating, benches, the like church pews. That's a new level of dumb racism. Most white supremacists don't want people of other colors here at all. I know. These folks want them here, and they're the only ones who pay taxes. I know, right? I cannot find any, like, like there's a rational reason for irrational, right? But usually there's like some little something that they can say, oh, well, I believe this because of this, as twisted as it might sound. But I can't find anything even completely twisted. I've not spent a huge amount of time looking, but my husband and I, we did, sit and talk it out. And I'm like, I don't know what they're talking about. And he's like, I don't either. Yes, they are housed in the same jail. They, not together, they're separated, but they are housed in the same jail. But yeah, I had thought about that, different jails having different uniforms, but no, these are all in the same jail. And I don't know, it might mean nothing. It might absolutely mean nothing. But that's what I was told, that it might mean that she was on suicide watch. And she did seem a little more, not distraught, but, just a little more emotional than the others. Yeah. Cabana Chica. My mom used to say, I don't know what one of my kids would have to do to make me stop loving them. That's true. I don't know what they'd have to do. I would love them, but I would have to face reality and oh, really? Not necessarily. Judges are elected in many areas, and it's not required to have experience with the law. I think it is here in Oklahoma, but I could be wrong. But I think it is. I know that it is where I'm at in Oklahoma, but the vast majority of the judges were also attorneys. It's not a requirement for the job. It's like coroners. Yeah. Yeah, that is a scary fact, isn't it? Yeah, I agree. I'm going to look into that. I know that they're hired. They weren't elected. He was hired. So I'm going to look into that. Yeah, some people just don't know how to shut up. Yeah. This is a Canadian speaking, only in the U.S. I know, right? We are always, boy, the wind is really picking up. My curtains are going crazy. Scary, the number of cults in the U.S. I know. Thanks, Susie. It's understandable that you would be interested in this case. With it being so close, it sounds like they have all been caught, thankfully. I hope so. I still really do think there's going to be more arrests, maybe not on murder charges, but maybe on conspiracy or, some sort of knowledge. I don't know, maybe not. But I really think there's going to be something. Everybody talking. Is this near where the Girl Scout murders happened? No. I'll find out how far that is apart, but no. Your life is a movie. Not really. A horror movie sometimes. Yeah. Lovely weather we're having, isn't it? I don't know what y'all are having, but I'm probably going to get some storms. It's real humid. I've got to get my air conditioner fixed, y'all, but this time of year you get in line, right? And it takes a while to get somebody out. Yeah, makes you wonder who else in this town is part of the cult. John Van Guess says, you can't be the thing that sovereign citizens want to be in this country. There aren't loopholes, like how they think to things like taxes and road laws. I know. That's what I was reading up on it. It was saying that they can declare it all they want, but the land, the law of the land still stands, that they don't get to just, say, we don't have to go by the laws and that's how it is. I mean, that's just not what it is. Exactly. They want their cake and eat it too. When I lived in Louisiana, they delivered KKK newsletters at our house like a newspaper. I was not a reader. I tell you what, I had not in the town where I had the newspaper, but in another little neighboring town, I had a beauty shop and we had two newspaper offices, one in two different counties. One where I had my beauty shop so that when I was there, I could still work on newspaper stuff. And then one in the town where I was mostly at, where all the corruption was. But there was corruption in this other little town too. And right across the street was where they had the KKK meetings. And like they had stuff spray painted it was like a little metal building, and there was like stuff spray painted on the walls and stuff. And I was just like, oh my God. It just, yeah. They want to benefit from our society, but not be part of it, not be part of the, building of it, basically. Yes, that is disgusting. Yeah, I know that some, especially municipal judges, don't have to have experience, but I think here they do. I'm going to look into that. But I think here they do. But I know some places I have heard they don't have to. Now, I think if it's criminal, they do. But I think a lot of it when it's municipal, they don't. Yeah, it might be different if he wasn't elected, which would be good. You should be very familiar with the law if you're going to be a judge. Absolutely. Yeah, he was hired by the mayor and the council, the city council. Aiding and abetting. Yeah, I've wondered about that. Around here in Arkansas, most judges are elected, at least on the local level. Federal judges are appointed, as far as I know. If I wanted to run for judge, I could, and I don't have a degree yet. Wow. That's crazy. I'm going to look into it, but I don't know. I'm trying to think. I don't know any of the judges in that area, but I know a lot of them in this area, and all of them are former lawyers. All the judges and I know them. Like we break bread, y'all. We used to, I'd have dinner with them and stuff and go to different meetings and everything. And but you guys had Vince Lee, who apparently has been turned loose. Oh yeah. Referring to lawyers wearing guns in court. Yeah. They do here. I mean, they do here. We have our share of atrocities, unfortunately. Yeah. It's crazy, y'all. But I'm going to go. I've got a couple other things that I'm working on and just some video things like that I'm working on. Some of them's kind of funny and some of them just, I think, cool. One of them I'm working on is a video about the protesters and all the different ways that they protest. And it's kind of a little bit of an FU to Stephanie Hutchinson. I don't say that, but just where she's talking about how they're all, basically hooligans out there just, running amok. And yet I have gone through and looked at tons and tons of streams, and I'm not finding a whole lot of that. I haven't found any of it really. Found a couple of it, and it would be 3 hours long if I put everything. But I see some anti-protesters acting poorly. But the protesters, for the most part, I think you'll enjoy it. And I think it'll help you kind of get to know, if you don't already, get to know some of the protesters and just see them they're really doing when they're protesting. I mean, we see a lot of the, the crazy stuff that goes on, but I went and looked at just like the more calm, boring times of their streams that went on for hours, and then there may or may not be, anything that was, newsworthy. So yes, the protesters do, Susan P. They have the biggest hearts and they care about who they are helping. Absolutely. And you know what? They don't have to do it. Yes, Tori was out there last night. They were all very civil. Boy, they were all very civil. They sure were. She's amazing. I just want to meet her. She reminds me so much of my aunt that passed away a few years ago that I just want to go give her a hug. It just feels like that they would have been best friends. So my aunt had some real opinions, and I wish she was alive now because I heard her mention Scientology a time or two, and I would like to know what her opinions are because she lived right down there. She lived in Canoga Park, and right down there. John Van Geese says, did anyone see Pearl Snappy assault the Scientologist last night? Oh, sorry. I had that mixed up. The Scientologist assaulted Pearl and Selfless with a power washer. It was pretty messed up. I did not see that one, but I will have to go look. I don't know how I missed it. Yeah, they were all around her being protective. That's cool. Yes, please hit the like and the subscribe buttons, please, on your way out. I love you guys, and I will be back later on. If I'm not, then it's probably because we're getting some weather. We'll be fine. We have a cellar. But, I keep an eye on the weather and all that. So if I'm not back, it's just the weather. Maybe it's not like tornadoes, but, the electric can be kind of iffy when the wind gets up real bad. So, we can lose electric. First thing we generally lose is our internet. So I love you guys. Love you, Susan P. I really do, guys. I love you guys. I have the best chat. I love you guys. And I will see you later. And if not, I will see you tomorrow. But I'm planning on later today. So see you later. Bye.